And they will say, now what we can say, Emerson, Lake and Palmer years ago had words and lyrics of a song, why did God lose 6 million Jews? Why would he turn his back on his people? And it's right here. They will say, this is a foreigner. This is a foreign nation saying this, as if, gee, his own people don't know. They will say, because they forsook the covenant of Yahweh, the Elohim of their forefathers, that he sealed with them when he took them out of the land of Egypt. And they went and served Elohim Achrim, the gods of others, and prostrated themselves to them, gods that they knew not, and that he did not apportion to them. So Elohim's anger flared against that land to bring upon it the entire curse that is written in this book. Here it is with the enlarged lamed. And Yahweh removed them from the land upon their soil with anger and with wrath and with great fury, and he cast them, that's the word there, I believe is the word, he cast them to another land as this very day. Now, Nicodemus knew that this was still in effect. And if he says, you come from Elohim, the very next verse says, the hidden things, it says hidden sins, has nothing to do with sins. That was a word added by the scribes, because they were trying to tell you, well, you're talking about sins. The hidden things are for Yahweh or Elohim, but the revealed are for us and our children, Lenuve Labeno with the dots above it, forever to carry out all the words of this Torah. It all has to do with carrying out the words of this Torah. So Nicodemus says, you come from Elohim, tell us. Have we had enough? Can we come back to the land from which we've been scattered? It's right there in his name. It's right here.
Yeshua said, I came to gather the lost tribes.
That's right. But see, it goes right back here to Deuteronomy 28. But how would you ever make the connection between John 3, unless you were looking in Hebrew and noticed these jots and tittles, and knew that the enlarged lamed was a great teacher, written cryptically. But I can't prove this. I can just look at the, I can just connect the dots.
The Torah speaks of me.
That's right. So the jots and tittles are these various different things. So, and Yeshua says, now he starts talking about the kingdom of heaven. And he says, and he starts dragging along, but here's the other interesting thing. On the bottom of the chart, I've got Exodus 20, Jeremiah 31, and Daniel 12 lined up, letter by letter, issue by issue of type of thought, the next type of thought, the next type of thought, like cognitive. I did the same thing with John chapter 3, the conversation with Nicodemus. Only it doesn't go one time through, it's like 2 times through, like the alphabet, and then alphabet again. And I wanted to see where John chapter 3:16 lined up, just as a curiosity. That's another story, though.
There are some Jewish people that say when the Messiah comes back, he's going to be a flesh and blood king. But yet it says right in the New Testament that flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom. So
they have a different interpretation.
Okay.
One sense is that the Messiah is actually the Messianic era, and some say, well, it's a flesh and blood human, he's not deity in the flesh. But see, everybody has these different ideas of what and who is the Mashiach. So for me to say, hey, let's cut to the chase. Who's the Mashiach? He's the one identified by the 22 letters. That identifies the Mashiach. Now, it's probably...
They identify him as Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David.
But it's probably both the Messianic era and Mashiach ben David and Mashiach ben Yosef. In other words, we're trying to pick between this one, and it might be, when you look at the whole story, there are all these things, these themes wrapped up together, and now it's just a matter of saying, okay, we have to identify what the basic point is, and I'm saying the 22 letters seem to be the identity of the Mashiach, which might be that the Jews are right saying it's not just the return of Jesus or the return of Yeshua as Ben David, but it might be Israel finally doing what they're supposed to do, listening to the words of the Torah and simply doing it.
Teshuvah.
Teshuvah.
So is the idea of the enlarged lamed in Deuteronomy 23 that was kind of a prophecy of this great teacher who would come to Messiah and question him on this topic? Or?
That's speculation. It's actually Deuteronomy 29, 27. But what I'm saying is, once you see what these things mean, now you have to sit there and look at it. So, going back to the inverted noons. What is a noon? The noon means life. What's an inverted noon? Why is it an inverted noon? The life turned upside down? Then you sit there, there's this other verse, I have it written down somewhere, but it says, Kumi Shuva, Shuvi. Kumi Shuva, well that sounds like Kuma Shuva, different phrase, but he says, arise and sit, Israel. Now, why would he say arise and sit? You have to go back and look at the context. But what I'm saying is, Kumashuva is what's in between the inverted nun. And this other phrase, I think it's in Isaiah, where it says kumishuvi, it's like, hey, wait a minute, that's the same thing. What's he trying to say here? Well, here's what I think is going on in the inverted nuns. Moshe, when he declared, he wasn't just telling Yahweh what to do. What did Yahweh say to Ezekiel? Hey, son of man, prophesy to these bones. Why didn't Yahweh say, hey, check this out, Ezekiel, and make it happen and blow his mind and show him some tricks? And it's like, it's not about showing him tricks. It's about he gave us the place to speak because he spoke and caused things to be. What if Israel's real obligation and disposition is to be able to stand on the face of the earth and speak the words of Yahweh Eloheinu and speak forth to happen the things that he wants to happen? And so if Yahweh says, I want to stand up and I want to have these enemies chased away, but I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to intervene in the affairs of men. Moshe, hey, speak this forth. Arise, Yahweh, let your enemies be scattered. Thank you very much. Now it's going to happen. What agency do we as humans have as Israel walking in the covenant that the Christian church never told us about, that the Jewish rabbis never told us about, because everyone wants to keep their power base to themselves? That are actually in these words, but we have to speak his words. And I'm not talking about sorcery. I'm not talking about mystical incantations. The reason you cast a spell is because it's all about words. But what about that whole thing is a ripoff of the covenant given to Israel as priests of the earth, connecting heaven and earth with the affairs of what's Yahweh's own heart and manifesting them on the face of the planet.
Well, where is it? I'm trying to remember where it says this, if it's in Isaiah, where it says that we can tell the mountains to move and they'll move.
There you go. It also says it in the New Testament, the British House. Same thing. What does that mean? Oh, well, you know, that's all metaphorical. How do we know it's metaphorical? Well, we've been lied to. How do we know we haven't been lied to about that?
You have faith and you have the heart and you are walking in the right way.
That's what Yeshua said. And Yeshua furthermore said, see the things I do? You guys are going to even do greater than these. When's the last time you saw somebody doing something greater than Yeshua? It's a matter of fact. What we say, what we've been told is, well, Yeshua is obviously God incarnate because nobody could do the things he could do unless he's divine. Unless only through his divine nature was he manifesting through human flesh. That is not what Yeshua said. What Yeshua said is, you see in me a typical human man-ish Israel, a Yahu-ish, Yahuish, Jewish. But the point is,
the Babylonians used to call the Israelites.
That's right. A bunch of yahoos. We ought to be a bunch of yahoos. We ought to be proud of his name. Yahoo, hooray for us. But my point is, Yeshua said, I'm showing you what you guys should be doing. Instead we say, no, we can't do that. You're the only one that can do that. And so we're going to say, you're obviously divine because you're doing that. And Yeshua said,
he did it.
Yeshua said it had nothing to do with his divinity. He did it as a human. We've completely misrepresented what he was doing and what he said we should be doing.
Well, isn't it John 21 where he's talking about to his Father and his Talmudim, his disciples, saying, you know, you're going to be one in the Father as I am, one in you, and
what did he mean by that?
And, yeah.
Indistinguishable echad, one from the next.
Yes,
well, show us the Father, and that'll be all we need.
Yeah.
You guys, don't you get it? How many times do I have to tell you? You've seen me, you've seen the Father. Echad, there's no distinction. The hey of the Yod, which is the Torah, you might say the expression of the Father, the expression of the Creator, I should clarify, and then the Vav, hey, the expression of the Vav men, Yeshua. You could say, well, hey equals hey. The expression of the Ruach, leading us into the ways of righteousness and peace and truth, is the same as the Torah. Hey equals hey. But the expression of the Father, the Torah, is the representation of Him. That it has to be Echad. And Yeshua said, you see me the Father. You could say, well, Yod is, if, one way to read it, Yod is like the Creator of the Father, Yeshua, the Vav. Then you can say, well, Vav equals Yod, Hey equals Hey. All together now, we're all, this is like we were just saying now, everything's Echad. It's one, it's indistinguishable.
The Christian church thinks that the Word was nailed to the cross, which after they desecrated the Word with a whip, and then, but they keep forgetting that He was resurrected, and the Word came back.
Well, they figured that as He was nailed to the cross, the Word, the Devarim, the law, had stayed in the grave.
Yeah, everything was taken care of right there. Well, it wasn't.
So we know, I'm assuming we're all on a certain page here of saying, yeah, let's hear what he has to say. So now, I'm talking about Jot and Tittle a bit, so let's just go back to Parashah Pinchas. So, it's so small, you almost need a magnifying glass to see it. But off on the side here, it says, Vav Kuf Tet Yod Ayin Aleph. It doesn't tell you what it means. It's not defined in English down here anywhere. Kuf, Tet, Yod, Ayin, Aleph.
Is that like a flourish?
Kuf, Tet, Yod, Ayin, Hey. Cutting off, amputation, interruption. There's no Kuf, Tet, Yod, Ayin. That's only Kuf, Tet, Yod, Ayin. But Kuf, Tet, Yod, Ayin, Aleph. Kuf, Tet, Yod, Ayin, Hey. The difference between Aleph and Hey, the Aleph is a silent letter, the Hey sounds like Ha. It's a revelation of, like Zadik is righteous. Zadik Ha is the expression of righteousness. So Hey is a letter, is a window that means to reveal. It's feminine, which is to say, to show or to make evident. But it's amputated, cutting off, interruption. Now if you look back here at number 25, if you read the word shalom in this document, it's not cut, it's not broken. But in the Torah scrolls, apparently the letter Vav in the word shalom is cut, it's amputated. So it's called the broken Vav. But in English, even if you got this Hebrew text, you're not going to read that unless you have this dictionary and you look up what that word means. Now let's look at the word shalom. Again, we're trying to say, what's the mystery of this covenant of peace?
Is that Numbers 10?
Numbers 25.
Numbers 10, okay.
So you got shalom, the covenant of shalom. Well, we all know that shalom is peace, so it's a covenant of peace. Not so fast. Shin Lamed Vav, to be quiet, tranquil, at ease. Made himself to live in tranquility. Shin Lamed Vav Mem. Well-being, welfare, safety, security, completeness, soundness, health, condition, peace. Complete and peaceful. Reward, bribe, payment. Now these have some different vowel points. Shin Lamed Vav Mem Hey is requital or retribution, or that which comes back around. So, what's the covenant of peace? Is it the covenant of peace? Or is it the covenant of completeness? The covenant of safety, security, sound and healthy, well-being, welfare. But why has it got a broken vav? That's one of the jots or tittles. Why would there be a broken vav in the middle of the word shalom, which means fractured, fragmented, broken, incomplete? What's he trying to say?